Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the First Parish Church of Stowe and Acton. Can you hear me all right? A welcoming and spiritual community. My name is Johanna Pyle, and I serve on the board of directors at FPC. For those visiting FPC for the first time, we welcome you. Please let us know you are here by filling out one of our visitor information cards in the pews and hand it to an usher, drop it in the plate, or hand it to Meg, our welcoming staff member who's right in the back there. Our minister, staff, and board are listed on the front order of the order of service. Please feel free to ask me or any of these people for more information. If you would like a large print order of service or hymnal or an assisted living device, I did that before, assisted listening device, please ask our ushers. Our assisted listening devices are small radios. Anyone is welcome to use one of these to listen to the service from another space in or around our building. After the service, please join us for coffee and conversation in our fellowship hall, which is one level down at the other end of the building, or in a breakout room if you are joining us online. I'd like to draw your attention to the announcements in our order of service and also invite you to check out our webpage for more information. You can also sign up there for a newsletter and email alerts. It is my great honor to introduce our guest speaker today, Mr. Sam Williams. Sam has had a long and storied career in social justice in the Boston area. Starting in 1994, Sam worked for City Year Boston until 2002 as a team leader, program director, and recruitment director. He then worked under Reverend John Hickey from 2002 to 2013 as director of youth programs, building manager, and then chief operating officer for the Unitarian Universalist Urban Ministry in Roxbury. At that time, our own Reverend Tom Raziello was active as a member of the UUUM Board of Directors. Sam, John, and Tom worked closely together on various organization issues, including UUUM annual fundraising, building the new Education Justice Center, restoring Putnam Chapel, as well as a variety of other community programs run by the UUUM. Sam has been instrumental in a dizzying array of initiatives across the city of Boston, including prison rehabilitation and re-entry, impact of racial profiling, community economic development, urban planning, youth development, and public safety. He is currently the chair of the Community Advisory Board for Northeastern University and the executive director of Concord Prison Outreach. CPO is our plate chair for this month, and we'll be talking more about that as the service goes along. And now, let us come together in a time of community, singing, and worship.
Good, good morning, and thank you for having me with you all this morning. I will begin with opening words by Esther Hurlburt. It's not always easy to find love at the center, which is the title. Not always easy to find love at the center. There's not a set of easy instructions numbered 1 through 7 or maybe 8. It's not always easy to find love at the center. Today in Covenant, we celebrate our living tradition, which invites us to take deep breaths of fresh air into the newness of every day. So our minds, hearts, and spirits will be continually nourished. It's not always easy to find love at the center. So for today, we gather in covenant to celebrate the reality that love is at the core of our being, and that love will guide us if we open ourselves to the challenges which love require us. May we accept this challenge with dignity and grace. And here are the chalice lighting words. If ever there were a time for a candle in the darkness, this will be it. Using a spark of hope, kindle the flame of love, ignite the light of peace, and feed the flame of justice, by Melanie Davis.
And please rise in body or spirit for our first hymn, Love Will Guide Us. Please join me in the covenant and affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. We acknowledge that we are on the unceded territories of the Massachusetts, Nipmuc, Pawcatuck, and Wampanoag peoples, as well as honoring and recognizing the Black and African people whose unpaid and forced labor built this country and our state. We celebrate and work in solidarity with Black, Indigenous, and people of color organizations, leading the movement for our collective liberation in line with our UU values. And this is the time in our service for joys and sorrows.
Good morning. My name is Anne Sadler, and I'm one of the lay ministers here at First Parish Church. This is the time where we share things that we have on our mind, joys or sorrows. And I haven't received any by email this week, so we're going to start with those from the congregation, and then we'll go to those online. We will light 2 more candles, one for the cost of war, and the final candle for those joys and sorrows that remain unspoken, but we keep in our hearts.
Thank you. The prayer and meditation. So I'd like to invite us to take a few minutes or seconds to be with breath, to be in the mind, to be in the body, and to be in this community space of worship. And now, if you can please join us in singing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
The reading is called Hopefulness in Bad Times. It's from You Can't Be Neutral on a Moving Train by Howard Zinn. To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion and sacrifice and courage and kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, if it destroys our capacity to do something, if we remember these times and places and there are so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is infinite succession of presence. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory. And now I'm going to introduce the plate sharing. Okay. So this is about the Concord Prison Outreach, or CPO. Founded in 1968, the Concord Prison Outreach is a coalition of individuals and faith communities committed to helping people who are incarcerated to build better lives for themselves and their families. And FPC has been involved in this for a long time, well over 20 years. Many of our members and friends have volunteered and are still volunteering at CPO by teaching classes in lots of different subjects, facilitating restorative justice sessions and parenting groups, and helping with the Read to Me Daddy programs in the prisons throughout Eastern Massachusetts. Our own parish jazz band has played at holiday events at the pre-release program at the New England Correctional Center, which is right across the street from MCI, which is the medium security prison. I was fortunate enough to teach a music theory class in 2019 at MCI Concord. That's the medium security. And this was before COVID shut down everything. Frankly, the most daunting part of this was getting through all the requirements just to walk into and out of the prison. The men in my class were eager, respectful, and they helped one another during our sessions. I only hoped they learned as much about music as I learned from them. And I hope to help more with their restorative justice program. Sam Williams, along with his staff and his board of directors, including, I hope you don't mind, Liz Rust, who is right here, are a great team to work with. Please open your hearts and your wallets to give to this great program. Thank you.
The sermon for this morning is entitled Restoring Love in the World. And I would say that in today's times, we all can use more love, joy, and peace in all the many ways that it manifests. I recently read a book called Don't Believe Everything You Think by the author Joseph Nugent. And what he stated in the book was pretty profound to me in some really deep ways. He stated that the default as human beings is joy, peace, and love. And what this meant to me was that the natural characteristics embedded in our character as humans is not hate, anger, violence, or social destruction. That our human default is joy, love, and peace. I believe that using the human brain for the purpose of adaptation, learning, and survival are the most important tools that we all have access to. For me, what I saw, what I was taught as a child, and what I believed and chose to practice conditioned me to become who I became. Racial tension, division, distrust, social judgments, scarcity, silence, and separation over time became my new default in life. To restore love in the world, I believe we must evaluate ourselves to make sure that our own social meters of love are healthy, balanced, and in alignment with what we hope to accomplish outside of ourselves. I believe that we have to make room in our lives to always look inwardly and to ensure that our hearts and minds are well. To believe that we are not socially impacted by what I call the oppositional forces and energies around us in the world is to not have the deepest connection, I believe, to humanity. Everything that negatively impacts man and woman on earth impacts us all collectively. We are only truly protected when we are all safe and protected on this earth together. My dangers are your dangers, regardless of geography or proximity. So I want to give you an example of how I restored love in my life a while ago. Some years ago, coming into social justice work, I was shook to my core. My mind shifted about race, humanity, and the goodness that occurred during a visit I had to the National Holocaust Museum. At this point, when I visited the museum, I was a hardcore, African-centered minded person who didn't care about the genocides of other races because I felt like the world continued to ignore slavery and the generational damages that it was having on Black people at the time. I also, as a kid, I grew up in Boston, and I had the unfortunate experience to be a part of Boston desegregation. And in the 80s, being treated badly because you were Black was not a pleasant feeling. But during my visit to the museum, I had what I call it a cataclysmic experience. And so I call it an emotional and social disruption in my mind that forced me to look beyond everything I knew at that point. And that was kind of hard because I was centered in my own pain and my own confusion. And it was that experience for me that restored me back to that natural default of peace, joy, and love. I walked out of the museum that day after a very, very thoroughly done tour. And I was a part of a group of folks that was doing a conference there. So we were taken on a very specialized tour. But I walked out of the museum that day saying that it didn't matter who was harmed. Because prior to that, I was fixated on the middle passage. And I realized that harm was unacceptable in my heart, in my mind, and I could not support it anymore. So restoring love in the world, in my thinking today, is about awareness building and collective healing. I believe that each of us will need to do our own self-inventory to make sure that we are not out of alignment with humanity. We know that culture, history, institutions, communities, and families all play a part of shaping us to become who we are. Just because we are not directly administering hate socially doesn't mean that we are exempt from doing anything to stop it from happening outside of our communities. Restoring love in the world is a heart and mindset shift that disrupts the old conditioning that makes people carry, that many people carry with them and don't even know that it exists sometimes. It's about looking inwardly to make sure that we are all grounded in joy, peace, love, and our natural default as human beings. So as I close, I want to leave you with a poem that I wrote some years ago entitled One Love. And I hope that the poem summarized some of the words that I just shared. And it goes, a passing salutation or form of greeting that you'll receive in urban settings, ghettos, or city streets, while engaging the gangsters, the big willies and ballers, who society describes to be human beasts. One love. Yes, there's still hope beyond coke, crack, dope that some people sell to cope, but to revolutionize the essence of the human heart, we must first untie the hangman's noose from the swinging rope. See, it's a psychological symbol that opens hidden doors beneath floors. Other times it might pass you by like a raging ocean with a silent roar. See, it's the preamble to every condition of hate, our constitutional faith. If you flow with the wind and never lose your grin, it might be unlikely to succeed in a life that won't let you win. One existence, one moment, one step, one struggle. I lost the ending of the poem, but in closing, I will say each of us have an obligation to not only live our lives in harmony and peace, but to extend that love and harmony and peace to the world I will make available the poem. It is a powerful ending. My mind just went blank. So I thank you all for this opportunity to be with you. Our work at CPO and with the men and women inside of the prisons, as was mentioned, would not be possible without individuals like yourself and the other churches that support us. So thank you. Please come and be with us at the coffee hour, and at that point I might have been able to recapture the ending of that poem. Thank you. So please stand in body and spirit, and let's sing hymn number 108. My life flows on in endless song. The benediction. I invite us all to seek out opportunities for self-reflection and re-examining the condition of our hearts, to make sure that we are in alignment with humanity and our natural default is grounded in joy, peace, and love. Thank you.
you.